Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Full 40 on a beautiful Tuesday night, wherever you are. You are here with Willie and Tommy, and also Brian. Brian's just going to be audio only. Tommy, how we doing, man?
Not bad. Not bad. Excited to be back with you. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're in the throes of college basketball season, which is like truly like I think college basketball season truly starts like after I'm gonna like January 20th is basically where I'm at. Like I think not that it starts, I should say the real point of it is January 20th. Obviously it started like whenever, but like conference play is kind of like full swing right now. This is like the dark period for a lot of teams. This is where you kind of come out, you show your medal. So I'm excited. This is my favorite time of college basketball, honestly. This next month, this is where it's like, all right, this is who the team is. Like we're gonna really like define what how the rest of the season goes. So I'm excited about that. Personal notes. I went with a friend of the pod, Blue Demon Degen. So you guys know I'm out in San Diego, so we did a little double header on Saturday. Drove up to USC for USC Purdue, um, which was great. Galen Center was a really cool arena. Purdue travels incredibly well. That place was like 70% Purdue fans. It was like actually wild how many Purdue fans there were. Like to the point where like USC's like being booed at their own free throw line, and it's like deafening. Um, I wouldn't say it was sold out, but it was pretty big. And then we kind of pivoted, and we're like, well, why don't we hit up Loyola Marymount? So we went out to Loyola Marymount and saw Portland play them. So nice little weekend doubleheader of college basketball on the West Coast.
I like that. I like that. As I get older, I think college basketball season fully kicks into gear when football season ends. At least for me. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a shared feeling amongst other college basketball fans. But now that the Eagles season's over, we turn our full attention over to college basketball. Not that we weren't watching all the games before, because we
Yeah.
definitely were, but we could really dig into it a little bit here. What's college basketball like on the West Coast? Because you've watched it on both coasts. What's it like over there as compared to over here?
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, so I mean, being in the San Diego area, I've gone to games at San Diego State, UCSD, San Diego, USC, UCLA, Loyola. Um, I think that's all the ones I've hit on the West Coast. So it's like a lot of Southern California basketball, which is like super interesting because there's a basketball culture like coming out of LA. San Diego doesn't have like that much of a basketball culture, frankly. Like it's not like that big of a basketball place. Um, it's not as fervent, I would say, as like you get like in the Northeast where it's like small gyms are packed every single day. Like Loyola, it was but because it's like it's Loyola Marymount, it's LA on a Saturday night. Like, yeah, there's going to be 1,000 people here. Like it makes sense that there's going to be 1,000 people here. Shout out to the people, the ticketing office of Loyola. We went to buy a ticket and it was for the upper level. And we are like, yeah, it's fine, the upper level. And we get to the upper level and it's just like three bleachers. We were like, okay, wait, no, we don't want to do that. And so we went back and they're like, can we like we'll pay for the upgrade. We'll just like, can we get like the lower level? Because it was two prices. It was upper level price, lower level price. That's what it was. There was no other difference in the pricing. And they're like, here you go. And he just kind of comped to us, which I thought was great. And so we just got like lower level seating. Once again, we're talking about like a difference of $10 in price. It wasn't like anything special, but yeah, it's like a little less like fervent, I would say, like especially at like the small majors, where like Northeast small majors like are still like low to mid majors are like still like really rallying behind it. Like California basketball, like low major, if you're not like really that good, no one's paying attention. But that being said, like San Diego State, which is obviously mid major, but like basically a high major functionally, that gets like they get really after it there. That's been San Diego State's been the venue. Viejas Arenas is really cool. I know New Mexico gets the thing of being called the pit because it's like in the ground. San Diego State is similar. It's not in the ground in the same way, but like you walk in at the top level of the concourse and then you go straight down. Um, and they're really good fans there. So San Diego State's really good. And then like USC, UCLA, I would say they're just kind of like it's West Coast basketball. It was LA. It was an LA afternoon at 4 p.m. Like, yeah, they're gonna be doing other stuff.
Yeah. Is it true what they say about the does that triculate that's not a word. Does that trickle into college basketball where they show up at tip or like half an hour after the game starts? Like it doesn't, but like Dodgers fans, it's empty at the first pitch.
I would say with college basketball, it's not as much that bad. I would say like most of the like Viejas is like full at tip, like they're raring and ready to go. So I would say not as much. But you do get a lot of like the all right, peace, I'm leaving. Like whichever, what happens everywhere. That happens on the East Coast too.
Everywhere. Yeah.
That I think we probably did that versus St. John's, realistically. um, which kind of gets to our next stuff. The last episode we had was with Chris, and we talked a little bit about our next like tranche of games, what the team needs to do. We were 12-2 at the point. We had just come off the win versus Butler, and we've gone 2-2 over the last 4 games. In the scheme of the larger season, it probably won't be too big of a deal. But within these last 4 games, we've seen some cracks in the armor that I'll put it like that of okay, well, none of these have been really like the dominant performance we'd hoped for. So for a reminder, we lost to Creighton 76-72, which is probably our most disappointing loss of this time period. Marquette, we escaped 76-73. Providence handled business. We won 88-82. We were kind of like the whole game up by like either 15 or 6. So it was kind of a game I think we actually led maybe wire to wire. No, not fully wire to wire, but it was there for us for the most part. And then it just kind of like and it just kind of like stayed in that 6 to 8 point range. And then we had the game versus St. John's. St. John's, we saw like at least my takeaway, and I'll kind of give my takeaway from these last 4 games. I think coming out of the Butler game, we thought, okay, we might be the number 2 team in the Big East. And since that time period, St. John's has kind of course corrected. They've gotten better again since that over the last 4 games, and even like prior to that. St. John's has course corrected. We've taken a little bit of a step back. Still probably top 3 or 4. Still, as of right now, squarely a tournament team. That's not a question. But it's just like the ceiling of the team that we're like, oh, okay, maybe we thought there's a chance we like mess around and end up as a 5 seed. Like that was like the highest level here. Now we're like, okay, that's probably not the case here. And St. John's kind of reasserted themselves on the road as no, we're still number 2. And obviously they probably think they're number 1 here as well. So there's a lot of stuff to take away. I think for myself, the Creighton game was kind of the bigger wake-up call of just like, okay, we talked about it in the last pod, protecting home court as number 1. And you want to talk about narratives across the season. We've lost in a way. We lost over neutral, but we've lost twice at home. And obviously one was in Wells Fargo or Xfinity Center or whatever. And then also at the Pavilion. So Tommy, kind of want to get your thoughts on the last kind of set of games here.
Yeah, I'll start with the things that I'm more upset about. One of the glaring weaknesses for this team going into the season, I think, was toughness, and I think that's been on display a little bit, especially in that St. John's game. Mm-hmm. If you look back when we first kicked off Big East play, Najee Hines did not play for Seton Hall against Villanova. He's aptly named Baby Shaq. He is he's earned all of that nickname. But Stephon Payne held him to 3 points, 8 rebounds. I was really for as good as Duke Brennan is, and I could wax poetic about Duke Brennan for hours on this podcast. But one thing that he's not is he's not a bruiser. He's not a thumper down in the paint.
Yeah.
And St. John's, they got some nasty dudes down there. Zuby is he is, yeah.
He just operates at a different, like, talk about he's not even a bruiser. He just beats you.
Yeah, it's ethical hoops, but it's just man, he'll take you down. But yeah, that St. John's game, I think the lack of toughness from this team, especially in the paint, was on full display. We're gonna get to portal wish list later in the year, but next year I would like to see them. Um, I mean, we don't know what we have in Nico Onyeruke on the bench.
Yeah.
We don't know what he can be, what he's developing on the bench. But I like to see them bring in some toughness because that's what's gonna hurt them in the early stretch. These next few games coming up, especially.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think like yeah, the lack of toughness has definitely been, and not just like at the big position, but like I'm gonna talk about I mean my favorite player on this team, Bryce Lindsey, over, and I'm not gonna like I can't do the math off the top of my head, but over his last few games, like it's been pretty rough. Like we're looking at, so he started off Big East play versus Seton Hall with 15. And I'm just going with points here. I'm not even going to get to like how he shot. 15 versus Seton Hall, 19 versus DePaul, 18 versus Butler. Creighton, we had 4, Marquette 9, Providence 9, St. John's 11, but I believe he was blanked at halftime and then like ripped off 11 in the second half, or maybe he had like 2. Um, and it's not just been the scoring, it's been like the efficiency. We're talking 0 of 3 from 3, 1 of 7, 2 of 8, 2 of 6. This isn't like Bryce Lindsey's a tough kid. I'm sure I believe he's going to bounce back. But this is like what I talked about at the top of the podcast. Like this is the like depth of college basketball season. This is where it's like it is like if you aren't tough, it will be shown. It's shown here. It's like between mid January to end of February before March. This is where it's like this is the prove it. Like this is the proving it to yourself side of things. And it's like in strong conferences, not that the Big East isn't a strong conference, but like the Big 12, like the SEC, where you're facing these teams, like you're seeing these teams time in and time again. Like we talk about like what's going on in the Big 12. Like Arizona has to go through Iowa State, Houston, Texas Tech. That's off the top of my head. I haven't even mentioned Kansas yet. Like that's all to deal with the Big 12. These are the teams that you see in and out. We know what the Big East looks like too. We know the like level of grit it takes to get through this period of the Big East and come out ready to go to be in Madison Square Garden for the Big East tournament. I think this team is learning that right now. Your first couple games in the Big East, you're coming off conference play. It's around the holidays. It's a little bit different. Now we're in the throes of it. And there's not like anything to panic about by any stretch of the imagination at all. But it's just, all right, how can we begin to start stacking like good habits and start stacking wins on top of each other?
Yeah, no, for sure. And to get back on a bit of a positive note, the offense really has been a pleasant surprise, especially of late. I know last year it was the offense got a little bit stale. This year we're seeing. I think my favorite play that Villanova runs is kind of that clear out screen by Duke Brennan, where we'll get 2 or 3 guys on his back and just push him out of the lane for a Lewis or a Lindsey layup. They have these elevator screens, these flare screens to the corner for 3.
Yep.
Some of the sets they're running on offense are really pretty. And over the past couple of seasons, 70 has been a big number for Villanova. They've gone over 70 points in each of their last 6 games, dating back to January 3rd against Butler. So every game that they've played in 2026, they've scored over 70 points. Unfortunately, they scored 72 in a loss to Creighton and 79 in a loss to St. John. So the offense is clicking. The shots are falling, and that's a really encouraging sign for this team going forward.
Yeah, it's actually funny you mentioned that. Like to your point, from an adjusted efficiency section, like this last stretch of games is realistically our strongest stretch of like 4 since like early non-conference. Like I'm looking at like Old Dominion, Temple, Penn. So like we are playing better offensively. Defensively, it's hit or miss. I don't think we're a bad defensive team. I just don't think we're an impactful defensive team, I think is the way I'll put it. Like I don't
Right.
we're not going to shut anybody down defensively. A good offense is probably going to light us up. A bad offense might have their day against us, and a good offense might kind of be like, "Oh, we can't really get anything today." But that's kind of my big worry about this. Not even worry, just kind of like a thing to like call out is just like, yeah, this isn't going to be a top-notch defensive team. We don't like Caden Lewis has quick hands, 100%. Besides that, we're either slower footed or um small, frankly, across most other teams.
Yeah.
Like Lewis, quick hands is on the smaller side. Lindsay, small. Perkins, like strong but small, and like not slow but slower footed to guard versus some other guards. Brennan, love him. Defense isn't why he's here. Like and it's not that he doesn't try. He gives effort on the defensive end, but like we're gonna see this happen on Saturday, or yeah, on Saturday. Like Hurley's going to bring him up to the level and put him in every ball screen time and time again. And like this is going to be and we'll talk more about this like versus like when we get into like the game previews, but like this is going to be huge for us in that game. Is like how Duke Brennan handles when teams start to call him out. One thing that I'm kind of noticing, and I don't know, I haven't heard anything to say otherwise, is I believe I'm still trying to figure out like what the Zion Stanford
Yeah.
role is. Over the last few games, like it's been I can't get a sense of what's going on with him. He played versus Creighton, played 5 minutes. Um Oh, this is an interesting trend. Hold on. He played versus Creighton, played 5 minutes. Didn't play versus Marquette. Didn't play versus Providence. Played 5 minutes or 6 minutes versus St. John's. I just don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he hasn't been performing to the level that like Willard's expecting. So we've been like benching him. It's been very, very interesting. I think we need an extra body. We just need an extra body. So even if he's giving 5 to 7 minutes, I'd like to see that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm a little confused on what we're doing with Stanford. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's been weird. It feels like they put him in the game, and I think he got to a bucket against St. John's, or maybe it was Creighton, where he pulled up right in front of the free throw line and did a nice little contested midi. But yeah, it's been weird, and the absence of Tafara Gapare, of
Yep.
Chris Jeffrey, who we've really been missing. Talk
Yeah.
about toughness. Chris Jeffrey, I think, really could add that, and I don't know what the injury update is with his knee, but I'm hoping that he can get back at some point this season because he's a bruiser, um, and he can play a lot of different positions. So I
Yep.
think having him off the bench would be huge for both sides of the ball in this team. But yeah, the Zion Stanford situation has been weird. It went back to the Penn game in the Big Five tournament. I think you mentioned, right?
Yep.
That was his first absence where he was healthy and not playing. It feels like they'll put him in the game for a couple minutes and Willard waits for him to mess up and then he's done for the day. Like, and I know that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And I don't know. It's really weird considering our depth that was such a strong point kind of diminishing. Could really
Yeah.
use a guy like Stanford. So hope we can see a little bit more of him going forward.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. Like Stanford would be like it's great needed like going forward. Um, it's funny enough. I'm actually looking. Actually, this is a fantastic question. Our team metronome, like I kind of believe is Matt Hodge, and what I mean by that is in games that we've lost, how do you think Hodge has performed?
Not good.
He's averaging. I'm going to do quick math here because it's that easy. Uh, 4.5, like 4.75 points per game in games that we've lost. He had 7 versus BYU, 3 versus Michigan, 5 versus Creighton, and 4 versus St. John's. It might not be not 4.75, but it's close enough. Basically, he's averaging under 5 points per game versus St. John's, or versus in teams that we lost, games that we lost. In wins, I'm not going to do that math, but we're looking at more than 5 points per game. We're looking at closer to like 12, 13 points per game there.
Yeah,
That
the inconsistencies are, yeah, that's
we're
infuriating.
saying the same thing. Yeah, the inconsistency of Hodge is frustrating. When he is on, it is very, very helpful as a floor spacer, as a like person who uses his threat of floor spacing to get to the rim. He's like rebounding. I actually think I'm going to look at this up statistically, but in my head, he's probably our best shot blocker in terms of pure like actual like numbers. and just impact because he has the size and also has more athleticism. I'm gonna actually triple check that just to like look at the numbers there. But maybe Pierce is there. Yeah, Pierce is the one who has the highest. But of like main minute players, he has the highest block percentage. Yeah, because he is athletic and he uses that and he gets in the mix. That's not to say he's not. He hasn't been. He's like completely worthless when he's not on. Like that's not at all what we're saying here. But he gives high effort. Um, it's just like that shot needs to be on, and I think it all starts from the shot. And what I'd love to see is when the shot's not on, I think he needs to recognize it a smidge earlier because we get the situation where he bricks 3 or 4 in a row, and it'll kind of kill any momentum that we potentially have there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think going forward, if he could, what was he against Marquette? I think he came out, he made 4 of his first 4 or 5 of his first 5 threes, something like that.
Yeah.
And he, like you said, I like your nickname, Matt Metronome Hodge. I like that. But yeah, like the Butler game early on, like the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, watching him, I texted one of my buddies and I was like, here we go. This is another one of these Matt Hodge games. And I don't think he missed a shot the rest of the game, to be honest with you. So I think if he could turn one of those games where he's like 2 for 11, 0 for 9 from 3, connect on 2 or 3 of those moving forward would be huge for this team. Because like you said, going off you a little bit, it just kills all momentum when, I mean, they're getting him open. This team, and it's not just Hodge. I mean, this team as a whole misses a lot of wide open shots, and they make a lot of shots that they shouldn't. But him being consistent moving forward would be massive for this program.
Absolutely. And then the other thing I want to hit before we start talking about like previews and things like that is we talked about like needing to see more from Malachi Palmer. We're beginning to start to see that to happen. It's been 2 games, but like we're beginning to start to see that to happen. He's played 24 minutes the last 2 games each. And it might just be, and like he had 6 versus St. John's, but like he was out there, he was on the glass. And then Providence, he was like very helpful in the beginning of the game. Like he kind of like was our offense for like a 3 to 4 minute period there. In the very like as a shot in the arm. So I'm excited to see more of Palmer. Like perhaps he's getting more like comfortable and everything like that. And this is the time. Once again, I'm going to keep harping on this. We are at like money time right now. This is just what it is. This is the throws the Big East or Big East play. We need to be able to like rally off like a lot of like we're at 14 wins. Conservatively, we're tournament safe. I'm not going to say no matter what, but conservatively, we're tournament safe. If you get to 20 to 21 regular season, you're more, especially out of a power conference, you're more than likely safe. So we need to find a way to get to 6. I'm not going to do 6, 7, 6 or 7, 6 or 7 wins throughout like over the next stretch of games. Not impossible. We still have games like 2 games versus Georgetown, 2 games versus another game versus DePaul that like God help us if we don't win. So it's there. Obviously, the ceiling of this team caps without the seeding ceiling of this team caps without strong wins, let alone like the actual physical ceiling of this or play style ceiling of this team. I'm hopeful for like just like I'm hoping the best for like I don't think this is like a bad team. I think they're actually pretty good. We had this conversation before we move on to kind of the previews, but we had this conversation in the group chat. But like you've alluded to this, what's been your favorite thing that like Willard has shown as a coach? Because we talked about it in the group chat, we talked about it a little bit in the pod, like our last episode. But like, what has Willard done this season that you've really, really begun like that you've liked? I'm kind of throwing that in here because it just came to my head.
Yeah, no, I like the offensive sets. I think when a casual fan, when I'm watching the game with my buddies out and about or with family and they point out like, man, they how do you get that open? Like if they can see it on TV, like it's really special to see some of the sets that they're running on offense this year. It's nice to see timeouts that are called appropriately. It's nice to see when there's a need to press on the defensive end, the pressure and the intensity is turned up. I think he understands that, and he's been coaching for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
So he's been around the game. He has a great feel for the game, as a veteran coach would. But I'd say just his general feel of the game. His Rothsteinism is more adjustments than a chiropractor. I think that's a bailout answer, but it's true. I mean, this team, not of late, but in the beginning of the season, coming out of halftime, they were a different group. They were a special group. So I like the way that they close out halves. I like the way that they close out games. And if something's not working, he'll be quick to kind of pull the plug on that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, mine kind of piggybacks off what you were saying. That, I mean, for me, it's a lot of like the sets he uses to get Bryce Lindsey open is just like it's basketball poetry, and you see that, and I'm like, okay, this is fun. Like Willard can tinker with some stuff, and like as we grow and develop these players, I mean, Willard, I think there was a quote about Willard talking about like growing and developing the players, which I love to hear because like it's good to hear that that's part of the plan. That the plan isn't just okay, we're going to hit the portal every year and like go and reload and whatever. I think I just saw actually we just gave an offer to
Jaden Jenkins.
Jaden Jenkins, the 2027 kid out of Archbishop Wood. So there is that vision to like, all right, we're also going to supplement this with like high school recruits because like I think Hodge would have been our last high school recruit, right? Am I missing someone? We haven't who?
Like technically a Caden.
I guess technically a Caden, yeah. But because we got him off of like, yeah,
Kentucky.
I guess technically, yeah. But it's like we haven't been super involved in the recruiting process. What's felt for like 2 to 3 cycles at this stage of us like not being like super involved. So it's good to see like that development plan is there. And then the other thing that we did at the end of the Providence game, and I think we also did at Marquette, the fast change inbounds, like inbounding, like the football style, like everybody lines up, you do that.
Yes,
I love those.
Me too.
It's just like because even at the end of it, it just gives the defense something else to think about and process, which gives somebody a split second to get open, and that's all that it is on an inbounds. give them something else to think about, so somebody else can get open, and like you can begin the process there. So
they toss the ball to the different inbounder, and then the quick pass right back to the original inbounder, and then getting it up. Oh my gosh, been craving those. Getting back to Jay, we've been craving those. That's cool to see us doing that now.
Yeah, and it's like it's not. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not hard. It's not a hard concept to think of. Like, okay, like just find a way to get somebody open. Also, just as an aside, I think I've said this on the podcast before. This has nothing to do with Villanova, really. I cannot stand, speaking of like late game situations, the half court pass, the full court pass to somebody to try to catch the ball to turn and shoot. I hate that so many times. It worked out for Kentucky recently again. But I guess Kentucky has a way about it. But I just think about that every time I think about those inbounds passes. I think of the full court pass or like the 3/4 court pass. I can't stand it because at the end of the day, I'm like, the goal is to get a shot up. Like when you're doing that, you're just trying to get a shot up. You don't get a shot up in that way. Get it to a person in half court and hope for the best. They take a half court shot. I don't know why that was on top of my mind, but it hit me there.
I was watching a game the other day. Virginia Tech was playing somebody, and they threw one of those 3/4 court passes, and Villanova pulled this off probably 5-6 years ago, where they got it to a guy at the half court, and they quick dished it to the wing for 3. And I think those are awesome. Yeah. Like that's beautiful, and it works like every time if you get a clean catch off the original one. But it what was it saying? Like 40% of the time, it works every time.
Yep.
A clean catch.
60. Yeah. All right, so let's transition and let's talk about our upcoming games. So we're gonna start off with tomorrow. We play the Georgetown Hoyas on George Raveling night. I think that's presented by Nike. So we'll see how the pregame and all that different stuff is done for George Raveling. But the thing I really want to talk about here is when you have the opportunity to play a team that it's like super interesting. They're 1-6. in the Big East play. They've lost 5 straight. They just almost beat Connecticut, like lost by 2, lost in overtime to Creighton. They've been losing close. So you would think they're due for one. But then also their coach, he's not wrong when he says there are other things to bet life I like to think about in basketball. He's 100% correct. That's like a really, really good thing to tell a middle school basketball team. It's a really, really good thing to think about, like, when you're going home and you're like, hey, putting this all in perspective. When you're at a press conference after just losing a game and you're being paid nearly $10 million to do this job, be like, you know what? They're developing as people. I'm proud of them. So I'm just sitting here like, what's Georgetown's plan? What's their what's their direction? Is it just like good job, good effort? We want to get out here. But give me your thoughts on the Hoyas right now.
Oh man. It feels like in the beginning of the year with Georgetown, there was so much hype surrounding this team, and a lot
Because
of that
they
was,
have names on their team this year.
absolutely year in and year out.
Yep.
Malik Mack's been on the roster for a little bit.
Yep.
I feel like he's got worse in a way.
Yep.
KJ Lewis in the beginning of the year, there was legitimate talks for KJ Lewis to be the Big East Player of the Year back in November, like around Feast Week. They had a 10-point win over Maryland, which really isn't aging well, but
No.
they beat Clemson at home by 5. That's a fine win.
Yep.
And KJ Lewis was playing outstanding once he was out of the shadow of Caleb Love over at Arizona. So, this team has some guys, and going into this season, this is what Ed Cooley promised. He promised his first couple of years it wasn't going to be pretty.
Yep.
But as he went on and as he developed these guys, this was the year that they were supposed to make the tournament. And unless they have a significant turnaround here in Big East Conference play or win 4 games in March in Madison Square Garden, they're not going to make the tournament. I am worried a little bit about their due comment. They are winning close. It's had a 2-point loss to Connecticut, 3-point loss in overtime to Creighton. They lost a pillow fight to DePaul where neither team scored 60 points. So I don't know. They play up to their opponents. They play down to their opponents. But man, this Georgetown team just is not playing well right now. Their coach is saying anything. He's hitting people with water bottles. It's not good in the nation's capital.
He's hitting children with water bottles. Come on.
Yes.
Also, I know you're from there. That the water was so Delco, man.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah. I mean, I just like, one, he's hitting children, but 2, it's like from a raw number standpoint, there are 5 Georgetown players averaging double figures. Now, one is Vincent Iwuchukwu, who's only played 8 games, but like KJ Lewis, as you mentioned, has been fantastic. Or not fantastic, but it's been like he was. Malik Mack is a strong name. He isn't shooting well at all. He's shooting kind of god awful. They're not efficient. Julius Haliafona, once again, like doing pretty decent as a big. My favorite player on Georgetown was a player that we were recruiting, Caleb Williams, not the quarterback who made maybe the greatest throw of NFL history. That doesn't matter anymore. Such a great throw. Caleb Williams is taking a step for them. He's, in my eyes, he's their most efficient, not even efficient, statistically he's their most efficient player. He's their best player. He's averaging 10. He's shooting 48 from the field, 38 from 3. He's really, really good. And then you get into players like Isaiah Abraham, who also committed to Georgetown over us. Deshaun Harris-Smith, another person who committed to Maryland over us. And then there. And Harris-Smith has only played 6 games and I think actually got dismissed from the team or injured. I
don't think he's on the team anymore.
I can't remember what happened, but yeah, he's gone. And then Langston Love, who, if anyone remembers, Langston Love is was a Villanova target out of way back in the day. Went to Baylor, ended up committing to Baylor, and was at Baylor for a few years, and now is just kind of toiling at the end of the bench at Georgetown. There are names here. It just really isn't working overall. They've lost all these games, but once again, they might be due. So it's one of those things, and this is the classic, just mean, I'm not even gonna say don't play with your food because like there's talent here, but like this is a must-win game, or not, sorry, a can't lose game, because like this is the type of stuff, like this is the loss that's on your resume, and it's like, okay, well, what the hell's that? Like, everything else we've been able to, like, all right, like losing to Creighton at home, that's the loss that shouldn't happen, but it's like, okay, it happened. That's, you move on. This is one of those ones, losing to Georgetown at home can't happen. DePaul at home, like, can't happen. Um, I don't know what direction this team goes overall. Um, if I'm Georgetown, like they could rally, and all of a sudden I'm like, all right, they're fine. Like, and they're starting to play, and like I highly doubt they make the tournament, but like they like finish winning, you know, 9 of their last 15. And it's like, they actually kind of finished on a pretty decent stretch. Or they like the wheels could fall off. So I think we're at that weird kind of precipice moment for them, where like the wheels are falling off. This is probably the moment that, like, if they're gonna get put back on, they get put back on now. We just can't be that team to let them do that. It's just that simple.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Villanova opened up as 9.5-point favorites an hour ago.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
The dog just burst in the room. Yeah, they opened up as 9.5-point favorites about an hour ago. But this Georgetown team, you mentioned they're not shooting the ball well at all. They're 289th in the country in 3-point percentage. They shoot threes at 31.4% clip.
Yep.
Yeah, this team is going to need a lot of help. KenPom has this as a 13-point win for for Villanova at home against Georgetown.
That's aggressive. I don't know if I feel that good about this.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing we've given Georgetown is that they're due on the pros list of things, and that they have names. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not too big on this Georgetown roster construction, and I'm not too big on the vibe around the team right now. It just feels stinky right now.
It's definitely a stinky vibe. 100% a stinky vibe. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm like looking, and I was like when I was doing some pre-work for this, I was like, is there anything that Georgetown is doing like well? They're not turning the ball over. That's one. They're not turning the ball over, so that's a good thing. And they actually do a pretty decent job of getting the free throw line overall. That kind of is about it. Their shooting is just awful. It's just like really inefficient basketball there. So I don't know. We're gonna see how they handle there, but we can put this squarely in the do not lose column. And then we have the just kind of like, I don't even know what I want to call it, the like, if we win, our ceiling raises or our seeding ceiling wins game versus Connecticut. So Connecticut on the road. I don't know if it's at Gamble or Excel.
This game is at,
I would assume Excel on a weekend.
People's Bank Arena. Yeah, Excel.
That's probably Excel. I'm not calling it by that name. So yeah, they're
too. The Civic Center.
It's what Dunk Civic Center. Keep it. I'm never like they're gonna try to change the name of the Pru at some point, and I'm just, if it hasn't happened and I haven't missed it, and I'm not gonna do it. Like, once again, I'm just not gonna do that. It's still the Wells Fargo Center. So
Always.
we have Connecticut. So Connecticut, spoiler alert, is really, really good again. I think like anybody who like last year's Connecticut team, I was kind of like, this isn't a title winning team. It's just not going to, this isn't that team. This team is a title winning team, caliber team again. Caravan is having a fantastic season, which Tommy, we still have the chip bet on the table. And he's playing his way back into where like a team late might. I had the vision. The team late might take him. For anybody who doesn't know what Tommy and I are laughing at here, like 3 years ago, basically, I said Alex Caravan was going to be a first round pick. He hasn't gone into the draft yet. And for the first year, Tommy's like, there's no way. The first year, we kind of let it go. Then the last 2 years, he's been playing a little bit worse. And Tommy was like, I don't know. Do you want to call off the back? And I was like, no, I'm going to stick by Alex Caravan. Now he's playing his way back into it. But across the board, it's not just Caravan. Silas Demery's been fantastic. Terrace Reed has been great, like Solo Ball, Mullins, the whole team. I would say Ross and Stewart have been like not underwhelming to me, but like not the huge impact I was like thought they were going to be. But the point of this is this team is just like full of talent again, and we know how much of a mad scientist Hurley is. What do you say? Like, what do you think what is our best kind of path forward here to giving Connecticut like one of the losses that they're gonna have? Because they're for favorite in every game for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Until the tournament. They could run the table, like it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's the Big East, and somebody might like get them. They once again just beat Georgetown by 2. So like it's not impossible. They're not infallible. How do we take them down here?
That Georgetown game was crazy. I couldn't believe that they kept it within 2. I was hammering UConn live spread like all game, and they just never pulled away, which was crazy. But yeah, man, this team, they're on a different tier. They're on a different planet than anybody else in the Big East. They lost 1 game this year at home to the number 1 team in the country without their center. Terrace Reed did not play in that game. This team's unbelievable. They have an unbelievable coach. They have by far the most talent in the conference. Get a good night's sleep, pray to whatever God you pray to, and just hope for the best. I mean, there's one thing that this Connecticut team does not do especially well, and that's shoot free throws. They're shooting free throws at, I think it was a 70% clip. Yeah, 70.9, so 71% clip. They have of late. They had a 5-point win over Seton Hall. Like you mentioned, 2-point win over Georgetown. They went to overtime against Providence. Providence was up 11 with like 2 minutes left and blew it at home, which was crazy. But aside from that, they don't shoot free throws well, but they really don't play a lot of close games. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this UConn team's a wagon. We're gonna have to catch them on a night where they're not at their best, because I mean they're better in every facet than any team in this conference. So I do think they get tripped up. I don't think that they run the table in conference play. They're going to win the conference. I don't think that's far fetched, but yeah, I could see us getting them. I could see us getting them at home. It's going to be tough on the road, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I think a physical team like Seton Hall could, if they impose their will early. I think a St. John's could, especially with that rivalry. But yeah, I mean, Connecticut's my pick to win the national championship, and I'm not really going out on a limb to say that either.
Yeah, definitely not. I can't quit Houston. I'm probably not going to quit Houston and Iowa State. I'm kind of all in on this year. But yeah, I think in order for us to win, there's a few things that we need to do. And I'm going to list these out as if they're like things that like are simple to do. If we don't do one of these, we can lose. Like it's kind of like things that we can quote unquote control. I think there needs to be a good Matt Hodge game. I'm imagining you're probably going to start off with Caravan on Hodge, which like if we really want to call it out, like that could be, you're looking at it hopefully 4 years in the future. Like if Hodge becomes like a Caravan-esque player, it's a big win for us. That's what we hope that we hit there. I'd imagine you put Caravan on Hodge, but you need Hodge to like start off strong. We need Brennan to be dominant. He needs to beat Terrace Reed and Rebe. Rebe's how you pronounce it? Reba. Thank you. He needs to beat Reed and Reba. Like kind of just up and down the floor. That's tough because we're asking one guy to do it against two like Terrace Reed's phenomenal. I think Rebo's just kind of like a good replacement level big, like with some upside. He's a freshman. Like he's going to get way better. But at this moment, so like that's the big one. I would say like we need to like limit the Stewart Ross combo off the bench, the Jalen and Jaden combo. Like if we can make them ineffective, we have a chance. And then the last one is like we are not going to stop all of Demery, Ball, and Mullins. Pick one and eliminate is the best way I can put it there. If we can get those 5 very tough things to do, like done, we have a shot at this. And like I'm not saying a shot as if like it's impossible. It's just like this is a very very good team. If we're going to play in the way like to your point, Seton Hall could keep it close to them because Seton Hall's physical. We're not that physical, like a physical team. We're going to have to shoot our way to a win here. Like that's just what it's going to have to be. So this also means like um Bryce Lindsay, I almost called him Tyler Perkins. Lindsay needs to be on. Honestly, Perkins should probably be on too from deep as well. The thing that we're going to get is we're having a bald off here. Like Willard versus Hurley is probably like what can Willard design that like can thwart Hurley, because Hurley's going to have not just offensive sets but defensively like things that are going to throw like very big loops for us. Connecticut on Ken Pom is 5th defensively. Just like we've seen Hurley's defensive schemes and offensive schemes, like they're 5th in the country from defensive on defensive rating. They're 37th offensively. 37th isn't bad. Like we're 24th, but it's that defense that is going to like really batten down the hatches on us. And we have to find ways to like create, like just get openings there. I think Silas Demery is my favorite player in the Big East besides Lindsay. Like I really, really like him. So like we have to like find a way to just, like if we're going to do it, it's going to take those 5 or 6 things. To your point, on the road, this might be a little bit much of a tall ask, but that's how we do it. And if we can get this win on the road, like this changes the outlook of our ceiling of the team completely. Because then you have the win that would like you have the one win with like decent other wins that gives you like, hey, maybe Villanova should be a protected seed, or if that's what if things really go well, or okay, yeah, Villanova's top 5. The easiest way to put it is like we win this one, there's a stronger chance we're playing in Philadelphia in an opening round, as compared to, in the opening rounds, as compared to being sent out west. I mean, actually, if they're sent out west to San Diego, I would not mind that. So, guys, maybe come out here. But yeah, that's where we're at with the Connecticut game. I'm not going to take predictions for this, but like we just know what we need to do. I'm excited. This is like what Big East play is about. These games. It's a Saturday. I don't know when tip is. I never know when tip is for any game. But since I moved to the West Coast, tip is just like the game's on. Oh crap! And then I scramble to go watch it. So I forget when the tip is, but this is just like one of those like very key games and a huge opportunity for us. And then downstream after that, you have Providence at home, Seton Hall at home, Georgetown, Marquette. We can lose all these, but like those, like hopefully we get these 4 wins. Those become 4 wins there. So that's kind of like a peek ahead of what we have. One thing I will call out once again is we've played better on the road overall. I don't have full road home stat breakdowns, but we've seen it happen. Besides like Michigan, but once again, that's another machine. But that's actually what we're running into a Michigan level machine. Like so, we beat Wisconsin, who beat Michigan. So we conversely, can beat the UConn level teams. We just need to put it all together for 40 minutes of Villanova basketball. Play the full 40, as they say.
He said
Leo meme.
Yeah, it's a 12:30 tip, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 12:30 tip. Yeah, 9:30. I'm missing the beginning of that game. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, it'll give the students less time to get really amped up as well, which I guess would be a good thing. Just rolling out of bed. Yeah, I mean, UConn's obviously amazing. I don't want to talk about them like they're 1985 Georgetown.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah,
but
as of right now, they're not.
Yeah, right. They're a beatable team.
Yeah.
They have been beaten. But yeah, I think we're gonna know very early in this game how the rest of the game is gonna go.
All right, so we're gonna transition now. There's 2 things I want to talk. One that we discussed, Tommy. The other one I'm gonna just throw at you right now. 2 senators have called out that the Big East should add St. Louis and Dayton there into the Big East. I don't even know what senators they are, but they're trying to, essentially add that in. Do we do it?
What are the teams?
It's St. Louis and Dayton that they're essentially being like they're basically kind of and I'll pull up I can share this later, but essentially two senators are introducing legislation or something or proposal to vow to essentially pull in St. Louis and Dayton. The real question is obviously like that's not going to happen, but like maybe one day, or do we just like keep thinking the Big East stays in? Brian, go ahead.
The country's in such a good spot that that's the type of stuff that's going on in Congress. Like,
thank you, Brian. Yeah,
they checked all the other boxes. They're like, let's work on this mid-major conference. Try to insert ourselves into this private industry.
Contrary to Ed Cooley's belief.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's just a good sign. I think, politics aside, we're all in a good spot if this is what's being discussed on Capitol Hill.
Anti-recession indicator. I'm out. I'll start with that. I'm out on St. Louis and I'm out on Dayton coming into the Big East. I think if you want people to care about Big East basketball, you got to go with the brands. And I know that that's not going to be popular right now because they're playing horribly and their coaches chasing referees up the tunnel. But I think if you could get a Notre Dame back in the Big East or a Syracuse, UConn went to the AAC and screwed off for like 8 years or whatever that was. And then they come back to the Big East. They won a natty in there. I give Kevin Ollie his flowers, but they've been significantly better since they've came back to the Big East. I don't think that adding teams like Dayton, like St. Louis, while currently they are trending in a better spot for college basketball. I think the history and adding these schools with prestige, like I mentioned, the Syracuse's, the Notre Dames, Louisville would never come back, but those type of schools, I think that's how you get the Big East back to national prominence, not these up and comers.
I completely agree. This kind of stuff is always fascinating to me. I don't think Dayton, St. Louis are the answer. Realistically, what needs to happen for us to get Syracuse, a Notre Dame, Pitt, BC, which realistically, let's call those the four, like that'll more than likely happen because like Louisville is just going to jump to the Big 12. Like that's just going to happen, or they'll find their way into the Big 10 somehow. But like those four would be like the things where it's like, and obviously BC's like really like BC's kind of bad, but like it's kind of bad their ass. But I would say that's kind of like where we're at personally. But that won't happen until football dies, or not dies. Sorry, football just leaves and becomes its own thing. Yeah, it just becomes its own thing, and then basketball will have everything fall under. All right.
Football's not even really sanctioned by. I'm going to go off on a tangent. Never mind. Let's go to the next thing.
All right, and then to wrap up, so what I wanted to do here was just kind of like run through some Villanova numbers, and Tommy, get your best guesses at like what our rank is within the Big East Conference from an efficiency standpoint. Okay. So what I mean by this is since conference play has started, where do we rank in X field for that? I'm using T rank for this because I love my T rank. But that's kind of where I'm at, like where I'm showing. Any questions on this, Tommy? Let me click this. Actually, this is going to be
just out of 11 teams.
Out of the 11 teams.
Got it. Easy enough.
All right. So in conference play, adjusted efficiency margin from an offensive side of things. So offensive adjusted efficiency, where would you say we rank in the Big East?
4th.
Drilled it. Absolutely drilled it. 4th in the Big East from adjusted efficiency margin at 121.3. So the next one I'm going to hit you with is effective field goal percentage offensively. So for anyone who doesn't know what effective field goal percentage is, I'm going to butcher it, but essentially it is taking your field goal percentage and the point that 3-point field goal percentages are worth more. So like you take your field goal plus your 0.5 of 3-point percentage, and then you do that over field goal attempts. Essentially, it's a way to take into account like a 3-pointer is worth more than a 2-pointer in terms of field goal percentage. So effective field goal percentage.
I don't know if I want to go with 1. I don't know. Creighton might be up there. I'll go 2.
Tommy, do you have this up? Because they are 2.
I do not have this up.
Yeah. I was like, do you have this up? Because we are 2.
Is Creighton 1?
Creighton is 1 in effective. Yeah, that's where I'm like, okay, this is Rob.
It's almost like I got a Big East podcast on the side. Follow Road to the Garden.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can trick you here.
Okay.
In 3-point rate defensively, so giving up 3-pointers, not percentages, but rate.
7th.
Wrong. We're 4th.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So at the top of 3-point rate, which is a thing we need to think about for Saturday, UConn giving up 31.7% of their shots are 4th in or 1st in 3-point rate. Creighton is 2nd at 32.8. St. John's is 3rd at 35.5, and we are 4th at 36.9% of our shots being 3-pointers that we give up.
Okay. All right, that's not as bad as I thought. It feels like we're first.
This one's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Offensive rebound percentage.
First.
No. I figured I'd get you with this one because we think, Duke Brennan does real. The Big East is really good offensive rebound, like from top to bottom.
It's true.
Really, really good. I'm actually want to pull this up. So Seton Hall's first at 39.6%. So they get 39.6% of the rebounds that they gather. Those are offensive rebounds, or the rebounds percentage they get that. We are 7th at 30.8%.
7th.
St. John's is 37.7, UConn 37.2, Georgetown 36.2. We are 7th in that.
Wow.
I see some comments guessing. Yeah, we're 7th in that. Yep.
My goodness.
So I think we like all thought like Duke Brennan's like that great. Now I actually kind of want to switch this for a second to a national view. Before I get to my last thing, because I'm kind of curious nationally where we stand for offensive rebound percentage, and if the Big East is just that good across the board, or if we're just if it's like missing something. Okay, the Big East is kind of just that good across the board. Seton Hall is, where are they? Or sorry, St. John's is 13th. Seton Hall is. What's up with this list? T-Rank, you're bothering me. But nationally, we've kind of fall like in the middle of from offensive rating percentage. Actually, we're not even that high. Nationally, we are.
Wow, that shocks me.
Oh, here we are. Nationally, we're 46th. Am I looking at the right thing? Yeah, nationally, we're 46th.
Okay. Wow. Good for the Big East.
I know what I did. I was sorting it by non-conference. I included everything. That was my thing. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, across the whole, I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Across the whole season, we're 46th. Conference play is a little bit different. The last one I'm going to pull up here is tempo. Adjusted tempo.
9.
9. I just was looking at this. I'm going to triple check. We are in adjusted tempo rate. We are 11th.
Really?
We are the slowest team in the Big East.
Wow. I would have thought Georgetown plays really slow too. Seton Hall plays slow.
Yeah. And conference play, it is your Villanova Wildcats. Yep. 11th in adjusted tempo at 65.6. Georgetown is 65.7. And then Seton Hall at 66.2. But we are the slowest tempo team in the Big East.
Sure enough. I'm still tripped up about the offensive rebounding man one. I thought we were way up there, but that's just in conference play.
Just in conference. When I remove conference play, I'll remove conference play and give you this. Hold on.
I know we were up there to begin with because Duke Brennan he was like leading the country in rebounding
Yeah.
at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll happen when you play the
Yeah.
Villanova Classic against Queens and Manhattan or whoever we played. Sacred Heart.
Yeah. All right. Well, so yeah, once again, we are 45th in total for the year. That's what I'm looking for. 45th at 35.8. When we go to conference play only, I'm trying. This is okay. Yeah. When we move conference play only, this is better. Okay. We are, yeah, that's where we fall a lot. In conference play only, we are 177th.
Wow.
Yep.
It's a Big East, man.
It's the Big East. Yeah. Because I'm looking at the Big East. Seton Hall's at 10. St. John's is 28. And then we have like Connecticut coming all in there. But yeah, Duke's definitely dropped off a little bit on the rebounding percentages. Still a very, very good rebounder, but this is the throws a Big East play. Like when you have the physicalness of everybody, it's what you have to deal with.
100%.
All right, Tommy. So I think that brings us to the end of today's show. We, once again, just as a wrap up, we have Georgetown tomorrow. Cannot lose that game. We have Connecticut on Wednesday, or that's tomorrow. Connecticut on Saturday. And then we get back into the some of the I think we have a little 4-game homestand, 3-game homestand. I can't remember how many games it is, but a couple games at home in a row, I believe.
I had a tweet a little while ago. I think it was after the Marquette game. Villanova had played more games outside of the Finneran Pavilion than inside, and it was more away from home than in Philadelphia. So it was this little, or yeah, like you said, we have 4 out of our next 5 games out of Connecticut. After Connecticut, we'll be at home, and our only away game is against Georgetown, so we won't even have to fly down there. So that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Did anyone talk about how that Wisconsin game wasn't really a neutral site because it was in Wisconsin? Because I didn't see that mentioned anywhere.
We didn't. Actually, Brian, I'm going to finish the show on this. I hate this about, like, you're right. I hate this about, we do this all the time with college basketball.
All fans do this too. This is our thing because it's Villanova, but it's very common. Yeah. It's you're the victim, and why?
And it's just like, how do I put this? Just because you play Alabama in Birmingham instead of Tuscaloosa does not make it a neutral site. You were like, that's just not neutral site. We played Wisconsin, and 2 hours south of where they are?
It's Madison's, a little west.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, Milwaukee's close to Madison.
Yeah. But still, like, it's even like, I think that's even more to the point. We do this all the time. Arizona has like, they play in Phoenix and they have the games, and it's like, oh, it's like a neutral site game. And it's like, well, some fans have to drive an hour and a half, and some fans still have to fly, and some, like, it's just like, it's not neutral site. And there's the nomenclature of it that bothers me, but then there's also the like deeper of like, play these games at home. Like, that's like, just schedule these games at home. This game being played in Birmingham does nothing for college basketball. People in Birmingham know that Alabama exists. And I understand there's alumni and all that different stuff, but like, I just like these games to be played at home. And then I see it, and I'm like, where are they playing? And I'm like, okay, so we're playing in St. Louis for whatever reason, Kansas, and like, yeah, it just always bothers me.
Playing BYU in Vegas.
Yeah, playing BYU in Vegas. I mean, that one, we know why that's happening. But yeah, we know. I mean, we play BYU in Vegas. All right. So we actually should be back next week. We're trying to get a bit more on a weekly cadence. And yeah, so we should be back. We're going to talk a little bit about Connecticut and Georgetown, hopefully the 2 dubs, and then we'll do a little Providence Seton Hall preview, and we'll see what else comes from this. All right. Thanks, y'all. And as always, let's go Nova.